Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Nazra binti Muhammad Nazir. And today I would like to talk about the most horrific and gruesome murder cases in Malaysia, which is Mona Fandey's case. Outside of Malaysia, the name Mona Fandey may be unfamiliar, but it is so well known in Malaysia that just hearing the name can make the chill runs down people's spine. Mona Fandey, alongside with her husband and their assistant, took over the media in the 90s as the hottest and most infamous criminal at the time. Almost 30 years later, this case still remains as Malaysia's most horrific case as it involved black magic. Here's the full story of the witch killer, Mona Fandey. Mona Fandey was born with the name Mazna binti Ismail on the 1st January 1956 in Kara, Belize. She grew as a kid with patience and singing, and her ultimate dream was to become a famous pop star. She was married and divorced twice in her late 20s, so she started concentrating on singing again. In the late 1970s or early 1980s, Muslim married a man by the name Muhammad Nur Afandi Abdul Rahman, who was her biggest fan and promised to help her fulfill her dream of becoming a pop star. She later on went by her stage name Mona Fandey, and in 1987 her dream came true. The couple together worked hard to launch Mona's pop career by producing and launching a studio album named Diana that managed to appear on several TV channels across Malaysia. The album was widely regarded as a commercial success. Mona Fandey's name became well known among Malaysians as a result of her hit single Ku Nyanyikan Lagu Ini. Here's a short clip of her song, Believe Me. She had a mesmerizing voice that would cast a spell upon your soul.
Ku nyanyikan lagu ini, oh sayang, persembahan dariku.
However, as the years got by, the couple realized that her pop career was heading to a dead end and decided to look for a different path as a source of income. It was then the couple decided to venture into something more lucrative, which was witchcraft. The pop singer became a shaman, or commonly known in Malaysia as Bomo, interacting with the spirit world in order to heal bodies, minds, and souls. Belief in this form of way was common at the time, particularly among the superstitious people. As soon they began their new career, they started getting popular, making tons of money, even offering her services to elite and high-profile clients like senior politicians, successful businessmen, and more. They were willing to pay large sums of money and privileges in the exchange for the couple's services that led them to live in the high life. This piqued the interest of a Malaysian politician known as Datuk Maslan Idris, a state assemblyman from Batu Talam in the state of Pahang. Datuk Maslan was a well-educated, ambitious politician, and rumor has it he was eyeing for the chief minister position at the time. In 1993, he approached the couple hoping to boost his political career. At the time, the couple had an assistant named Juraimi Hassan, who presumably acted as a go-between for the couple and their clients. Mona promised him the post by offering him a so-called magic talisman, which translates to an object that is thought to have magic powers and to bring good luck. Consists of walking stick known as tongkat and a cultural cap known as sangkut, which had formerly belonged to the former Indonesian president Sukarno. Mona promised Maslan that he would be invincible when in possession of this item and demanded 2.5 million Malaysian ringgit in return. Maslan paid the couple a deposit of 500,000 Malaysian ringgit and reportedly signed over the deeds of 10 land titles as a guarantee for the remaining payment. Once the assets were transferred, Mona arranged for Mazlan to visit her home in Hulu Dong, Rao Pahang for a cleansing ritual which involved flower water bath ceremony or commonly known as Mandi Bunga. The purpose of doing this was to dispel any lingering bad energy and allow the recipient to attract good fortune instantly. Between 10 p.m. and 12 midnight on 2nd July 1993, they started the cleansing ritual. The assistant Jurami Hassan was present at the time and assisted in the preparation of all necessities for the ritual. The couple and their assistant had Mazlan lie down on the floor with his eyes closed and was told to wait for the money to fall from the sky while Mona placed the flowers all over his body. Without any warning, the assistant swung an axe on Mazlan's neck twice, severing his head. The trio then dismembered and partially skinned his body into 18 pieces and buried the parts in a storeroom near Mona's home. This is what the house looks like today. It appears that the reason they decided to kill Datuk Mazlan Idris was purely financial. There were claims after the fact that the land titles promised to the couple as guaranteed for the outstanding payment were discovered to have been worthless, and by that lawsuit many have assumed that the couple were furious that they have been cheated and set out to collect as much as possible from what they were owed. Indeed, in the days following the murders, several substantial sums of money were withdrawn from Mazlan's bank account. Mazlan was reported missing a few days later after he had failed to attend several party meetings and avoiding all contact with his family. When the investigation began, it was discovered that one of his last acts was to withdraw 300,000 Malaysian ringgit from his bank account. After that, he had simply disappeared without a trace. Yet, the case was leading to a dead end when the police had no leads to the investigation apart from that withdrawal. It was then fate had a twisted turn. Juraimi Hassan, the assistant, was apprehended by the police for an unrelated drug offense on 13 July 1993. During questioning, possibly under the influence of drugs, he provided information as to the location of Mazlan's body. The home of Mona and Afandi was later searched. Investigators had to break a concrete layer and then excavate a hole nearly 2 meters beneath the storeroom floor before making a grisly discovery. They found Mazlan's remains, which had been cut into 18 pieces, along with the murder weapon, an axe, and several other knives. Throughout the investigation, the police discovered that following the murder, the couple went on a shopping spree. A Mercedes-Benz car, cell phone, and jewelry worth up to 160,000 Malaysian ringgit were purchased in an instant. Mona also got herself a facelift which cost about 13,000 Malaysian ringgit in total. The couple kept spending the money and within 10 days, 300,000 Malaysian ringgit was gone. According to several witnesses, Mazlan was seen leaving Hulu Dong village with the couple in Mazlan's car. Finally, the police issued a public notice in the newspaper requesting that anyone who saw the car immediately report it. A few days later, a salesman admitted to conducting a transaction in which he bought and sold the vehicle in the newspaper. Mazlan's car was sold in Gudu, Kuala Lumpur by none other than Mona and Afandi. Soon after, Mona and Afandi was apprehended in Wong Maju, Kuala Lumpur on the 22nd July 1993, the same day the police discovered Mazlan's remains. The detectives combed the house and the couple's other residences for evidence and found amongst the papers the deeds to the land titles. The police was soon able to piece together the likely timeline and motive for the killing. The two defendants, Mona Afandi and Zuraimi, undergo trial in 1994 in the Temellow High Court Pahang by a seven-person jury. They were charged with murder under Section 302 of the Malaysian Penal Code, a crime which carries a mandatory death sentence if the accused were found guilty. Trial lasted for 65 days with evidence provided by 76 witnesses. The prosecution told the court that money was the motive for the murder and pointed to the shopping spree, Mercedes-Benz and facelift. One of the strangest aspects of the court case was Mona's demeanor throughout the entire trial. She remained cheerful and smiling the whole time, wearing brightly colored dresses and happily posing and smiling for the press photographers. Jeremy testified against Mona and Afandi and revealed the gruesome details about the murder. On 9 February 1995, it took the seven-member jury just 17 minutes to reach a unanimous verdict of guilty against all three defendants. Mr. Nada Ali Khan, who represented Mona and Afandi, said that they would be lodging an appeal. Jeremy's counsel, Karpal Singh, told the court that his client was only 24, unemployed, and of low intelligence. The three defendants were sentenced to death by hanging. Her words after the verdict were, "I'm happy and thank you to all Malaysians." According to the reported court case, no search procedures were carried out because the first accused, Jeremy Hassan, informed the police during the interrogation of the location where the body pieces were buried. According to the police, the clandestine grave was excavated and the body pieces were removed one by one by PDRM's forensic experts. The remains were then transported to a public hospital for postmortem examination, where forensic pathologists found no evidence of perimortem trauma caused by struggling. In 1999, the trio filed appeals to the federal court, but they were rejected. They sought to obtain a pardon from the Pardons Board of Pahang, but the board refused, and the date of execution was set to Friday, 2nd of November 2001 at Kajang Prison. At 5:59 am on Friday morning, the three of them were hung in gallows that put an end to the most gripping murder trial in the country's history. It was reported that her final words were, "Aku takkan mati," which means "I will never die." Mona dies at the age of 45, Afandi at the age of 44, and Jeremy at the age of 31. Mona and Afandi were later buried at one of the cemeteries in Kajang that morning as well. Meanwhile, Jeremy was returned to his hometown in Klang and buried in Telok Gong. Today, all that's left of Mona and her husband are the two abandoned houses they once stayed. Their stunning bungalow in Section 12 Shah Alam that has been demolished, leaving only an empty gated land. The other land where the murder had taken place, a house in Hulu Dong Road, Pahang, that had been abandoned and consumed by the jungle. This infamous story was even turned into a movie known as Dukan that was released in 2018. Spending her lifetime in Malaysia seeking a career towards publicity and fame, Mona's last word was a statement that was then not understood but now comes into clarity. Although she did not achieve fame in her lifetime, her infamous story lives on forever, as the story of Mona Fandey will truly never die. That's all for me. Thank you for listening.